Hello, and welcome to the Comedian's Paradise. This is a podcast where we speak to mavericks across the comedy world. Now, today's guest has come all the way from the other side of the world to come on this podcast. His name
Yeah.
is Oleksandr, like the boxer, and his name is Kachura, a powerful name, and which is a great Ukrainian name. He is a man he's come all the way from Ukraine just to be on this podcast. And he has many stories to tell, and you guys are going to love him like a pepperoni pizza. Please welcome Oleksandr Kachura.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, guys. Even if you don't like pepperoni pizza, you will. I'm the pepperoni pizza you will love. That's my self-advertisement.
Okay. Would you prefer I give a different pizza name?
No, actual pepperoni works great for me. I love pepperoni.
Now, for anyone that doesn't know about you, just tell us a bit about your comedy story and how you became a comedian. Because I know that you also gigged in Hong Kong. Is that right?
Yeah. That's actually where I started doing stand-up comedy. Well, I started doing comedy when I was a student in Ukraine. I'm from Ukraine, from the city of Kharkiv, which is now being attacked by Russians quite actively, probably at this moment, because now I'm based in Kyiv, Ukraine. It's the
Oh,
capital of Ukraine, which is also attacked by Russians. So nowhere is safe. No. And I started my doing comedy when I was at the university, when I was a student. It was quite a long time ago, in 2012, 2013 or something. And I was doing some comedy theater. It was like we were doing some comedy scenes, some improv or something like that. But after that, I moved to China because I wanted to improve my Chinese language. This is my second language in at the university. It's like my major is English and Chinese. So I went to China to improve my Chinese. I used to work there as an English teacher, and that's actually one of the most working jokes for me is about being a Ukrainian English teacher in China, because in China most of the parents, most of the students, they want native speakers, and when you come to work in China, your employer makes you say everybody you are a native speaker, like you're a British person or you're a Canadian or American, and the joke is like the most terrible thing for Ukrainian American teacher in China is to meet a real American at work. Uh, it's like
oh.
there was a girl who came up to me and she was like, "Are you really an American?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course I am." Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so I lived there with my wife. I have a wife. She's Ukrainian too. She's also from Kharkiv, from my hometown, and she has Azerbaijani roots. Uh,
Okay.
and in China, everybody thought she was Indian.
Oh,
Yeah, because all the taxi drivers were racists there. Uh,
oh.
and I don't remember. I just told my wife that I want to do stand-up comedy. I was looking for some open mics, and we lived on mainland China, and we lived in the city of Shenzhen. It's border with Hong Kong, and we quite often we used to go to Hong Kong during holidays. And she just found an English open mic there, and we went uh, to the English open mic on my birthday, and that was actually her birthday present to me. Um, and we were really lucky because that was the day when we met Pablo Francisco.
Okay.
At that open mic, there were like 16 people in the room, and he was just testing his jokes before performing, before his gig, which was supposed to be the next day. And maybe he's not so popular now, but I YouTubed, then searched him on YouTube, and he was very popular in 1980s. And I was really impressed by his impressions of Arnold Schwarzenegger and his performance. He was amazing. I was so amazed by him, and I just told my wife that I want to try some comedy as well. So I got a comedy Bible book by Judy Carter. I was trying to write some jokes, and then we went to the same club in Hong Kong, and my wife, she just put me in the lineup. I didn't know that, but I just had to deal with that. So I went out, and my jokes worked. I killed it that night, and after that I decided to do comedy. Well, then we moved back to Kyiv, and in Kyiv I decided to do both in English and Russian. So I'm still doing comedy now.
Do you do it in 3 languages then? So Russian, Ukrainian, and English?
I used to do it in Russian, but now nobody is doing comedy in Russian. Well, when I do act outs, I show a lot of people speaking Russian. My friends, comedians, they tease me for using too much Russian during the gig, because actually it's not a good thing to do now, to perform in Russian. If you perform in Russian, you will not get a gig usually, because nobody likes Russian language, and like 99% of all the stand-up comedians, they do stand-up in Ukrainian. Which is great, which I think is great, because before the full-scale invasion, everybody spoke Russian. Only in the west of Ukraine there were Ukrainian-speaking comedians, but when you speak Ukrainian, it felt like, wow, I'm doing something special. I'm speaking Ukrainian. It's so unusual. It's like some kind of attraction. Some kind of amusement, but actually you are Ukrainian, so you are supposed to perform in Ukrainian, and actually it was the breach of the law by that time, but still everybody spoke Russian. But after the invasion, especially after the Bucha tragedy, which was in 2022 in November, if I'm not mistaken, like nobody wanted to speak Russian. It was taboo for everybody. So I do comedy in English and Ukrainian now. When I lived in China, I did a couple of Chinese open mics, but actually it was pretty interesting experience, because it didn't even look like stand-up event. It more looked like the Chinese Communist Party assembly for me.
Why is that?
Because there was no bar. It wasn't in a bar. It was in an office, and everybody sat still. Everybody just drank water, and there was no reaction at all. And in the end of the in the end of the stand-up, all the comedians stood together, including me, and we took the red tape with yellow Chinese characters on it, saying this is the open mic number 43, and everybody is like, as if it was, I don't know, some rural agricultural assembly of communist activists. So it was really interesting for me.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I heard this from Tony Chu. He says that it's a bit dodgy, and like there's a lot of comedy gigs in China and Hong Kong and all those places, and it's really booming at the moment. but they say you've got to be very cautious because they have the culture police, and they can report you for saying something dodgy, and they protect them really well.
Maybe that's why all those open mics were held in very secret places. It was really a challenge for me to find the place, because you had to go
Ah,
to some warehouse, then you go to the office in that warehouse, and there is a dark room, dark office which is out of work, and there is only one room where people sit. It's like some really underground event.
oh,
But
okay.
yeah, but English speaking stand-ups with expats, it was okay. But there was about sometimes there could be police raids in Shenzhen. They could just come
Oh,
and take your urinal tests right at the bar, just because somebody told them that there are a lot of drug abuse among the foreigners.
whoa,
Yeah, it
bloody
was
hell.
like that.
Now, I'm not too sure how to go about this question, being from Britain and not being there, but like, I have no. I mean, being a comedian in Ukraine in this sort of moment, like, yeah, like, and living in Ukraine now, like, bloody hell. I mean, how do you guys deal with what's going on at the moment? Like, what's it like? It sounds so stupid for me to ask it, but I have to ask it.
I think I'm not the one who should be asked this question. I think the people who live near the front line and the military men, these are the people who really face the challenge and who are real heroes, because we are just people. And actually, our life is normal. The only thing which is not normal is the air alarms and uh, missile attacks which happen, and this is something that reminds you that you're not living your normal life. You're at war, so you should go to the shelter. But if there are no missile attacks, people go to the bars, people go to watch comedy, to watch movies. Um, everything's mm, everything is okay, especially in the west of Ukraine. For example, there's a town in the west of Ukraine where there is no curfew at all,
Oh, okay.
because yeah, it's on the border with Hungary. It's called Uzhgorod. There are great comedians there. One of one of my favorites, and they have no curfew at all. So it depends on the place. Of course, if you go to Kharkiv, in Kharkiv it's really hard now, because every day there are, for example, yesterday there were 20 drone attacks on the city, and but we really are thankful to people who protect us, and now there are also some feedback to the Russian cities from where attacks go to Kharkiv, which is great, I think, and this is the great achievement of the armed forces of Ukraine.
Hmm. Yeah, it's horrible what's going on, and just I mean, it, is there likely to be a truce maybe at some point where Trump and like will get um, Zelensky and Putin as some sort of chat and just I don't know, some sort of compromise or something.
Mhm. Well, actually, there are some people who believe in this, that there will be some kind of compromise, but most people, I think, they don't believe that Russia want to compromise with us, because they do not treat us like a country. They treat us like Russian oblast or Russian region which separated and which is under the influence of Anglo-Sax, I don't know, society or something. They
Ah,
think
okay.
we are American puppets or some other Western puppets, and we are just their territory, and we are not nation. That we are just part of Russian culture and Russian empire. That's what they think, and they will never treat us equally. That this is true. So, and we face this reality every day, because every day Trump deals with, I don't know, Putin, and every day he tells that there may be truce. The next day there are really hard attacks on Kyiv, on Kharkiv, and with time it gets more and more dangerous, because before it was like, well, in Kyiv it's okay, but in Kharkiv everything is really hard. But now I cannot even say which place is safer, because if there are some misunderstandings, or if there are some negotiations or statements from Western part, Putin just responds to the global West with attacking Kyiv heavily, sending everything here. And many people die because of this.
Yeah, it's so yeah, but it's It's also it's. I hear, and this is from someone that knows nothing. I heard that with a lot of people in Ukraine and Russia, isn't there a lot of like? Don't a lot of people have cousins or relatives on one side or the other as well?
Yeah, there are, and actually my cousin, she always lives in Russia, and that was her choice. And this is, well, quite quite a strange choice for me, but she did it by her own will, because during the invasion, first she moved to Germany as a refugee, and then she said that she doesn't like it in Germany, and she voluntarily moved to a Russian village, and she's currently living in a Russian village, because she's a really ideological Russian supporter, and she hates this regime. She hates, and we haven't communicated since 2014, because in 2014 there was a revolution in Ukraine, and I supported the European integration of Ukraine. I went to the Maidan in Kyiv, and by that time we used to use Vkontakte social network. It's a Russian social network, but by that time we could use it because it still was not it was not run by Russian intelligence. It was run by Pavel Durov. And she saw my posts with me waving Ukrainian flags at the Independence Square in Kyiv, and after that she told me that I am Satan, that I'm devil, and she will never talk to me, even though I'm the godfather of her son.
But that's bloody hell? That's so brutal and bloody. Oh God! And is that what's going on with a lot of families in Ukraine and Russia? They have that sort of thing where there's a lot of.
Well, in Kharkiv, I think there are a lot of such situations, because there are a lot of people on the border with Russia who have relatives there, and I think it's very common in many families in the east of Ukraine, because there are a lot of relatives who live in Russia. My family is no exclusion. I also have. I used to have a relative who lived in Moscow, but he's already departed. He died long before the full-scale invasion, before the war. But there are also reverse situations. For example, our family, as I said before at the beginning of the recording, is half Russian, half Ukrainian, because my grandmother's name is Alexeyeva, which is a totally Russian surname, and my grandfather's second name is Kachura, which is totally Ukrainian second name. And we have a relative who is Russian, who came from Russia, and when she also always supported Putin, she always supported Russia, but when Russia attacked Ukraine in 2022, she said that she hates Russian and she hates Putin, and she wants him to die as soon as possible. So, which is quite a surprise for me.
Oh, yeah.
And there are many such families in the east of Ukraine where everybody's mixed. You cannot find like 100% Ukrainian family or 100% Russian family. Because, I don't know, somebody even thinks that legal Russian territories now, there used to be Ukraine and they must be Ukraine in the future. And actually people, for example, people in Krasnodar, they speak Russian in the same way as people in the east of Ukraine speak Russian. There is some kind of special pronunciation, and you will not feel difference between those Russian pronunciations. So, but those territory used to be Ukraine too, a long time ago. So
is there? But yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just that but I'm guessing with the comedy shows and all of that, there must be a lot of dark territory being covered, because they say a lot of times, don't they, that humor helps deal with traumatic and terrible things. So I'm guessing.
Yeah, it really helps, but I think now we are on the next stage. It used to help a lot during the first weeks of the full-scale invasion, because nobody could believe we can listen to Ukrainian stand-up comedy in Ukrainian, and we can see people telling jokes during this time, because at the beginning of the full-scale invasion, there were like, I don't know, maybe maybe 1 million people in Kyiv, but before the invasion it was like, I don't know, 3 million or 5 million. A lot of people fled Kyiv, moved to the west of Ukraine. I was in Kyiv by that time, and the whole city was totally empty. Kyiv is an overcrowded city with lots of traffic jams, with lots of people, which is like that now. But by that time, it was absolutely empty. And when you see stand-up comedians doing comedy, well, everybody laughed, not even because the jokes were so funny, but just because of the fact that they could afford this during these dark days, because everybody was so shocked when all these things started. Nobody believed that the full-scale invasion may happen. I personally, I didn't believe. Maybe a lot of people believed. I'm just talking about myself. I didn't believe. I was like, oh no, it's just the all these news are made just to raise the oil prices. It's just the speculation. Nothing's gonna happen. But then I just saw lots of people from my neighborhood packing their things, moving away. My father calling me, saying that the war has started, and I'm like, what kind of war? What are you talking about? Are you joking? And he's like, just switch on the TV. So I switched on the TV, and I switched it on at 10 a.m. in the morning, and stood up from my sofa only at I don't know, 8 p.m. in the evening. I just didn't know what to do. I was so shocked. I never had such a situation. And besides that, there was no meat, there was no bread, nothing. there was no food and everything was in deficit because everybody was shocked. And the most terrible thing, there was no Coca-Cola. And I was like, what can I do without Coca-Cola? So I had to drink rum without cola.
Oh,
But then everything came gradually, went back to normal, and yeah, and comedy was a real supportive thing for everybody, for people. Uh, but now I think everybody is more relaxed. Everybody's used to war. Everybody knows that if there's air alarm, then it's better to go to the shelter. Many people also ignore air alarms and don't go to shelters, which is bad. I personally, I also often ignore the air alarms, and I'm doing wrong. And yeah, and comedy is not making that saving function anymore. It's more like entertainment, and I think it's more useful now, not here in central Ukraine or western Ukraine. It's more useful at the front line when you do comedy for military people, or if you do comedy for military people here in Kyiv, or at the hospitals. I have an experience of going to the east of Ukraine and performing for the army, and they
oh,
I'm really happy that my jokes work for soldiers, because it's softly speaking not intellectual humor, which is easy to perceive. There's nothing about war, nothing about politics, nothing about like some high I don't know how to say it in English. There's nothing super intelligent, just normal, I would like stupid jokes. I'm not telling that
yeah,
military men accept only stupid jokes, but I'm telling that it's just a quick way to entertain people, just
yeah,
to relax, and this works well for people who are tired.
yeah. And people that are going through all sorts of trauma and like I can't imagine the stuff that the soldiers are going through. I mean, they've got friendships and like I don't know, they've known that person for ages, and then one minute they're gone. I mean, that must do all sorts of things to your head and you may have known that person for ages since you were a kid, and to have them disappear in front of you like that, bloody hell.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, uh, I felt the difference between now there are like two different worlds: the civil world and the military world. And I I got into a very cringe situation. I feel so ashamed because of it, but I I must say it. Uh, we once went to the front line to perform in front of the soldiers, and there was a soldier, and I was trying to do some crowd work, and I asked like um a soldier, like, "What are you guys doing during your free time?" And one of them said, "We do washing, or we do just cleaning, or our own stuff to do." And one man says, "I usually watch streams." And I'm like, "Whoa, what streams do you watch? Is it Dota, or is it, I don't know, Counter Strike?" And he meant that he is watching streams from drones, like he's watching
Oh,
and he looked at me as if I was a fucking idiot, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, these streams, I get it. I'm sorry." And this was for me, that was the difference between like between two worlds. Where and when I was doing my performance, there was a man who didn't even look up. He just looked down all the time. There were three comedians, and in total we had like 1 hour performance in front of them. And the man was just looking downstairs. He didn't look at us. I
Oh,
can't even imagine what he had passed through. So it was. I still remember that man, and I can't even imagine what people are experiencing at the front line.
yeah. I can't. I mean, you know what? There's a saying. I don't know if they say it in Ukraine, but they say that with the average person, they maybe come across maybe one or two traumatic incidents, but they say that a policeman goes through hundreds. And being a soldier, I can't imagine what they go through, and how do they deal with it? You know, you see, before all this war happened, people talk about mindfulness, stoicism, all this mind meditation. They haven't got any of that. How do they handle all of that? Like, what must be their coping mechanisms? Because it must be driving some of them nuts.
Uh, I don't know. I think I'm the wrong person to ask. What
Yeah,
I
yeah.
personally know that I do improv comedy as well, together with my friends. The producer of underground stand-up comedy club is the club where actually like the biggest club in Ukraine. His name is Sviat. Also, another actor, Slava, Albina, and Anton. Like there are five of us. We have improv comedy show which is called Kings of Cringe, and we do all sorts of terrible stuff there. Very specific humor, and many comedians hate us for doing that, and they're like asking us, "Why are you guys doing this? What? Why the hell? Why do you need this?" But I personally, and my friends as well, we received a lot of messages from soldiers who said that they really like watching this show, and uh, even at the front line, even during doing like the making military tasks, executing military tasks. They when they have break, they watch this show, and this show helps them relax. And I think that this is already the reason to keep doing this show.
Oh yes, definitely.
I have a friend. He's a paramedic, and he's doing very dangerous work. Uh, and he's fan of this show. Actually, he watches every episode of it. The mechanism of the show is like people from the crowd tell us some topic, and we do improvisation on that topic, and we do some silly stuff, but we think it's funny, and we find a lot of people who think it's funny too. And it's not only about soldiers; it's also about people who've moved from Ukraine and who also experienced traumatic, who also had the traumatic experience because they have depression, they can't find their place abroad, because people who come abroad, it's also not so easy for them, because we here in Ukraine, we think that if you go abroad, that there are no. By the way, now there's air alarm, so if there are some heavy drone attacks, I'll have to move to another place, to the shelter.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Yeah. People who move to Europe, they also experience some stress because everything got upside down in their life, and many people also say that thanks to that show we are doing, they feel much better.
And that's the thing with all comedy. I mean, comedians can have opinions, peers can have opinions, and people in the industry, all sorts can be. But the main thing that matters is the audience and what we do for people. That's why comedy is such a lucrative industry, because it helps a lot of people and it helps people better their days. That's
Well,
what it's about.
yeah, but I think you shouldn't only concentrate on what you do for people, what people will accept. You should also remember not to ignore what you like to do personally. Because if you do something people like but you don't like personally, it will not work, or it will not work for a long time. Maybe you can say some things people like to hear, but if you feel it's not your stuff, then
Yeah. I agree with that. I'm saying that in terms of other comedians. I think what matters, yeah, you're right about that. But I think what
mm,
you want to do and what makes the audience happy is all that matters to myself as a comic. I think you can learn something from what people say, and if it's productive. But for the most part, comedians aren't really paying your wages, or they're not really. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make regular people's days better as a comic.
yeah, that's right. Totally agree with that.
But yeah, that and so when you get those criticisms, you're like, but look at you. What are your thoughts there? You're like, yeah, you can have those opinions, but look at what I'm doing for people in Ukraine by doing all of this. Look at what I'm doing. Look at the effect I'm having. So I have to keep doing this.
hmm Yeah, that that's right. Uh, I'm really impressed. We have a comedian. He's very popular, and he helps our army a lot. His name is Vasil Baidak, and he contacted Doug Stanhope, and Doug Stanhope decided to come to Ukraine. He was not planning to, but he suddenly decided. He contacted Vasil uh, if he can arrange everything here. So he introduced Doug Stanhope to us here, to Ukrainian comedians, and he also Doug Stanhope asked uh, Vasil to take him to the front line because he wanted to shoot his mother's ashes from the artillery to the Russian side. It was so, uh, I don't know, such a surprising and funny stuff.
Poetic. That's okay. And what? So with him getting, what was it like? Like I know that also there was a fundraiser with the Ukrainian with Victor Petraskan. There's a few things happening at the moment, isn't it, that are helping.
Yeah, Viktor Petrashkan, actually, he's also planning to come to Ukraine once more, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, uh, by the way, my wife arranged the show. She works in underground stand-up, and she is responsible for English-speaking shows. Now there are a lot of
Oh,
English-speaking
okay.
gigs, and there are a lot of people coming there. Before the full-scale invasion, most of the audience were like the backpackers and the couch surfing tourists, and now most of them are NGO workers and international military men. And yeah, Victor came to Kyiv, I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, and he came with two great comedians. My great friend. Uh, oh fuck! I said my great friend, and I forgot his name.
Yes, I was gonna say that further.
Yeah, yeah. But we cannot cut it off. Yeah, the Netherlands comedian. Uh,
Igor Fedorov or something, right?
Yeah, that's right. Uh,
Bold guy, right?
Fedor Ikilar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Fedor. Yeah, I'm sorry, Fedor. If you're watching this, I'm really sorry because I'm so tired. Just
It's all
come
right.
back
Don't
from
worry.
yeah, the great friend of mine. What the fuck his name is? I don't remember that guy. Yeah, Fedor Ikilar. He's very popular. He became very popular after his reels about the delivery guy in Ukraine during the air alarm who brought. Well, subscribe to him and watch that reel. And another comedian, I don't remember his name because he has very complicated second name, but he's from Switzerland and he's so fucking funny. He's really, I think it when he performed it was one of the most funny things I ever heard. And they used to perform in the cinema in Ukrainian like cinema. It was like 500 people there, and there was sold out. I also took part in that show, and that was a great show, I think. And after that, he raised money for humanitarian aid to the victims of the Russian attacks, to children, to you know, civil people. And we used to have we had a small auction with another Ukrainian comedian, with Vasil Baidak, I mentioned before. And and all the money that we got from the concert were also spent on the humanitarian aid. And we had a podcast with him as well, just like with Doug Stanhope. So you can watch it on the Underground Stand-Up Live channel. If I'm not mistaken.
But with all of these, so that it's going to happen quite. But when you're, what effect does it do for the comedians? But also, what does it do for like the area? Bringing all these great comics in. How is it helping things as a whole?
I think it's great support because not only Doug Stanhope, not only Viktor Patrashkan came to us. There is also a popular comedian whose name is Dragon. He's very popular in Europe. He said that he was planning to come as well. There was David Letterman, who once came to the Underground Stand-Up Club. Stephen Fry also came to visit us, and I still can't believe I have seen these people literally alive,
face to face. Yeah.
And it's great support for Ukrainian comedians and for Ukrainians as well, because I think this is something that gives us a sign that we are on the right side, that we are not bad guys here. Even when somebody says that this is our fault that the war started, there are also such people who say that everybody knows who exactly. But I think that the visits by these people are the sign that that we are on the right side here.
You're on the right side of history.
Yeah, on the right side of history. That's right.
It's yeah, it is. I can't imagine what it's like. But I mean, you said that with everything going on as a whole, though, not only we talk about the effect that it's had on Ukraine, but on Russia, it's also not. I mean, they may have support and they have from China and like Iran, but they, if I'm correct, but they're losing a lot of people too. It's not just
Yeah,
like
exactly. And at that moment, when David Letterman came, when Doug Stanhope came to Ukraine, when Stephen Fry came, I was thinking that well, actually, there are uh, before the invasion, a lot of Ukrainian comedians were in touch with popular Russian comedians, and when Russian comedians came to Ukraine, they were here like superstars, and they had sold out much faster than Ukrainian comedians. They were much popular, and it was impossible for Ukrainian comedians uh, to be sold out as fast as some Russian comedians. I don't want to mention their names, but they are still very popular, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I think that a lot of Ukrainians are watching them even now. Uh, but I'm like thinking, what are those Russian comedians thinking when they see uh, all these celebrities coming to Ukraine and meeting no names, people who are no names for them. Uh, I think it's quite a thing for them to think about too. Like, if, for example, recently I watched, there's a guy uh, who moved to Russia, to Moscow before the full-scale invasion. He's from Kyiv. He was very popular comedian here, but still not so popular as Russians comedian used to be in Ukraine. And he decided to make a career in Moscow. And he moved to Moscow, and he got to the Russian TV show, became very popular there. And I watched his interview because that's the guy I used to perform with. I used to be in the same lineup with. I saw him in person for quite many times. Uh, and there was a moment where he was being interviewed by some guy. I don't know who that guy was, and he was quoting an American comedian. And I'm like, what is it like for you to quote American comedians, to treat them like idols, to treat them like, I don't know, the standards of comedy, and to know that they do not like you and what you guys are doing there? Because with staying in Russia and performing in Russia, after all this stuff, you still support the regime. Was it like, what is it like to be an outsider, to be on the wrong side, to be a bad guy, and to still to discuss Western comedians, to quote Western comedians? Why don't you quote some old Russian comedians, or maybe, I don't know, Iranian comedians? You're in that team now.
yeah. And what did he say?
No, I didn't. I didn't talk to him. I just, that's what I was thinking.
But yeah, well, there's a lot of he's obviously got a lot of guilt, and there's a lot of things that are weighing heavily on him. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I heard that his parents, they also don't want to talk to him because they stayed in Kyiv, and he moved to Russia, and now he has his family. His wife is Russian. He has kids there, and well, his life is there. But his parents don't talk to him, and I think that he thinks it's because of propaganda, because of Ukrainian propaganda.
Bloody hell. Yeah, that's is yeah. What is there to say about certain things? With so no, how's so you mentioned a few things earlier about how things are just normal now, but what were how would you say so you said in the western Ukraine things, there's no curfew. In Kyiv is relatively okay,
No,
but what's
there's only one region where there is no curfew. In the rest of Ukraine, Western Ukraine, there's still curfew. Everything is okay.
oh but with with how have people changed since it's all happened? Like how's so like comedians have obviously changed, but how has the whole situation in Kiev changed and like people as a whole? And how has it
um,
changed you personally? As
three
a
and a half year, 3 years and a half after the full-scale invasion, I think people are getting, and I think it's natural, it's normal. People are getting more and more depressed. People can see the end of this nightmare. They are getting used to this. Nobody's happy. There are a lot of conflicts in the society. You can see them on the streets. You can see people getting irritated easily, and everybody's much more aggressive now. And I think it's natural. And I think that it's a big victory already for Ukraine still to exist like a country and to uh, function like a society after 3.5 years of war with such a big country. And of course, this is thanks to the Western support as well, because without Western support, it would be much more difficult to uh, resist, maybe impossible to resist. But it's a very challenging, as for me, it's a very challenging thing for a society to be under war all the time. For example, now I'm sitting and I'm thinking if there are gonna be explosions above my house or not. Uh, and I'm like, thanks God I'm living on the second floor, because if the drone falls into my house, it will not strike my floor, it will strike, I don't know, the seventh floor or 10th floor. And you think about this, and now these thoughts are normal for you, but then you try to zoom out a little bit and you realize it's not normal. It's something which is uh, contrary to normal. And but I think on the other hand, I think this is the reality. And for example, 3 years ago I went to the European tour. It was um, the charity tour. 100% of the money we got from the tour went to buy a drone for the armed forces. And to be frank, I didn't feel comfortable in Europe, I don't know, in Germany and in other countries, because for me it was like if you move to Europe, then you try to fool yourself, to convince yourself that uh, there is no terrible things happening, that there is no danger, that danger is only somewhere there. But actually, what I think that here you face the reality which is unfortunately may spread across the whole Europe. First, it may start with Baltic countries, then it may start with Poland, and something is coming. That's what I feel here, because we have the same situation before 2022, but it was much smaller. It was just two regions of Ukraine, and Crimea was occupied. Nothing was happening in Crimea, and there was some kind of conflict in Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, and most of people didn't even think about it. For example, I had a lot of Russian friends when I lived in China, and we didn't even discuss this, because we were like, oh, it's some politics, it's some people there, they are trying to solve something, It doesn't have anything to do with us. And people even lived in Kharkiv, and in Kharkiv, which is, I don't know, maybe 200 kilometers away from the military zone, people still live their happy life, and they used to listen to Russian music, used to watch Russian TV shows, used to watch shows by Russian comedians who first came to Kharkiv because it was logistically convenient for them. And we thought that it's somewhere there. But then 2022 happened, February 2022, and we realized that it's not something that should be ignored, and Putin is not somebody who we should deal with, because we chose, most of Ukrainian population chose a president who wanted to deal with Putin, which did not work. And now our president has absolutely different position. He's like, only war can help. And before that, we had president who also wanted to finish war quickly to deal with Putin. And by the end of his term, he also said that only war can help. But nobody didn't want to listen, because you don't want to listen to something which is uncomfortable for you, but which is truth. So that's what I think, that now it's you get much more sober. Yeah, you get much more depressed, you get much more nervous, angry, irritated in Ukraine, but you get much more sober because you face something which is really threatening you. But if I lived in Spain, I wouldn't even care about what's happening in Ukraine now, because it's so far away from me, so far away. But then tomorrow it's just on your border, and the day after tomorrow it's in your place. That's what I experienced myself.
You thought it wouldn't happen, but now it's getting yeah.
Yeah, I thought it's until November 24, 2022, I was 100% sure it wouldn't happen. Who would start this in 21st century? Come on, who would do that? But somebody did.
Putin, and then you also got what's going on in Israel as well, with Palestine.
I think it's some kind of periods in the history of humanity when there are explosions here and there, and I don't know why. I'm pretty sure that same thing is going to happen in Taiwan, early or late. It's just a question of time for me.
They're watching. China's watching what's going on.
They're just watching what's going on.
Russia and Israel, and they're waiting for their time to strike, effectively.
Because they treat Taiwan same way as Russia is treating Ukraine. It's just their territory, which is somehow is not under the jurisdiction of their authorities.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know that with what's going on.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Like, it's interesting that it's a comedy podcast, but I look like a political expert from Ukraine now.
It is, yes, it is.
But actually, you can stop me, because I listen to a lot of political experts. This is what I start my morning with. Because I don't like reading news, I like to listen to somebody telling the news from me. But it's very important to choose who to listen to, not to listen to people who tell you that the war is gonna end tomorrow, because we have a lot of such people here in Ukraine.
There's a lot of that in the West as well, as you will know. We got Andrew Tate, we got all sorts of people talking things that aren't true.
Yeah, especially when I enter X, it's terrible. There are so much anti-Muslim propaganda. Maybe, I don't know if it's just targeted for me or everybody reads this when he enters from his or their account.
I've not touched Twitter or X for a very long time. I only go to Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok,
That's
and
a great
Facebook.
thing to do. Great thing to do. Because I sometimes I try to post my reels, going back to comedy, to post my reels on X, and I get nothing uh, but negative comments.
Yeah, I don't mind. So when I do with TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, I don't get much on Instagram, but on TikTok, when people start commenting, I don't mind it because I can have a conversation with it, and it helps push the video further. If someone's getting offended or they're getting, I don't put no, I don't. I'm not one of those edgy comics, but when I'm doing a podcast clip, some of them have been quite deep hitting. So I did a football
Hmm.
hooligan one. I did a people are getting into all sorts of discussions and they're starting to get in arguments with each other. I mean, if people get in arguments with each other, it helps your video. So I'm not bothered sometimes.
Well, I think on Twitter people are just waiting to get an argument with somebody. This is the place they come to. This is the reason they come to that place. It seems to me. And I also once started Douyin. It's like Chinese TikTok, and I wanted to post uh, comedy reels there. And what I used to do, I during my gig in Ukrainian, I told the Ukrainian public, I told the joke in Ukrainian, and then I said like, and now I'm gonna tell the same joke but in Chinese because I have Chinese TikTok. So please, can you please react? And then I just translated the same joke in Chinese and posted it in on Chinese TikToks. But the
How did it
mostly,
do?
well, it went well. I got a lot of views and likes compared to Ukrainian social networks, but you cannot compare the populations. So everything is, how to say, everything is equal. Because
Okay.
according to Chinese population, it's a very bad result.
Oh, well, I mean, they got so many people there, so they can spread it around, and it is a booming market. From what I hear from some comics that are in China right now, they tell me that the Chinese comedy market is the 80s in America, and I don't blame them. There's so many people there, and like I've seen people run a lot of English comedy shows, and what I've heard about it, it really is people raking it in. However, they don't like edgy humor, and like there's no argument if you want to push jokes to the limit here in China.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I am subscribed to some Chinese comedians. I watched a couple of their videos on Douyin on TikTok, and they didn't have any jokes which were on edge. Everything is very, very decent.
I heard from a friend of mine. So he used to call himself Alvin Liu, but now he's Jai Wei Liu. And he said when he was doing theatres or something that he would have to submit his jokes to the government.
Wow.
They had to see it.
Yeah, I when I lived there, I lived in a city called Hefei, and they have Catholic church in the center of city. And I'm like, wow, Catholic church in China. And a friend of mine told me that it's okay because there is a requirement so that every priest of the Catholic Church should be a member of the Communist Party, so they control this. Uh, yeah, and once we were at podcast, we had a podcast with um, uh, a comedian from Iceland, which is correct to say Iceland,
Okay.
Iceland, right?
Yeah, yeah, Iceland, yeah.
Ah, yeah. A comedian from Iceland. His name was Helge Steinar, uh, and he used to live in Beijing for a long time and started his career in Beijing in Chinese. And he said that once he has had a situation when there was an open mic and he had his gig, and there was a guy at the bar who ordered shake, and they were mixing the shake with the ice. And he made a notice to him. He just makes some joke about that and asked, like, could you please do it more quiet? And he made fun of it. Everybody laughed. And then, I don't know, like 20 minutes later, the police came to the bar and closed everything because that guy turned out to be the Communist Party member, and it was like lose face situation for him that the foreigner told him not to do something in Chinese bar, at Chinese bar.
Bloody hell! It really is the mafia, isn't it? You say one wrong thing, but what if that's so brutal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I also have a friend who organized. He's Ukrainian. His name is Ivan, if I'm not mistaken. He makes comedy shows in Shanghai, and he said that once the Chinese government cancelled Irish comedian. I don't remember the name.
Oh, there's Bishop.
No. He's always like drunk.
That's a lot of Irish people.
Yeah, actually. Well, actually, okay, let it be a very famous Irish comedian, and his show was cancelled right on the day of the show, just because they didn't like something. Nobody knows what. They didn't like the fact that there are only expats coming to the show. There are no Chinese people. Too many expats. Quite a suspicious thing.
Oh, okay. Bloody hell.
Dylan Moran.
Oh, him. Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah. By the way, he also came to Ukraine once, a long time ago.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, that's great.
He's Irish, right? I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is. He is. No, bloody hell. I can't believe. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in there. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about that, and it's funny though, isn't it? When you look at it, how it's in some ways, it's like I don't know, if someone has ultimate power and someone upsets you by saying the wrong comment, you're like, right, boys, beat him up, shut up.
Yeah. Well, there was some kind of what I feel, especially many of my friends who stayed in China. There are not so many people who stayed in China after 2019. I personally moved back because of my visa expiration. And I was planning to come back to China, but in 2020 there was the COVID situation, and everything went in a different way for me. And what Helgi Steiner in that podcast, what he said is that after 2019 there was some breach in Chinese people's attitude to foreigners because there was a series of quite loud incidents with foreign people involved when they were cruel towards Chinese people, and that was like the reason why like the society got more hostile to foreigners. This is what I heard by other people. I cannot prove that because I didn't live there. But this is what many people, many of my friends who stay in China also say, that everything changed. It's not so, I don't know, not so welcoming environment for foreigners now. First of all, there are not so many foreigners as there used to be before the COVID. And secondly, uh, yeah, there is a thing. I don't know. I would call it some kind of. It's not racism, but it's. Uh, mm, well, there's a thing
Put,
called loose face. If you,
okay.
uh, well, if you, uh, what I experience from Chinese culture, if you, just a second. Um, I don't remember the word. If you make somebody look funny, then this person is very angry with you. Or if you have quarrel with somebody, if you humiliate, yeah, remember, if you humiliate somebody, especially in public, that it means that this is the attack of the on the dignity of that person, and that person must revenge for themselves by any means. So maybe this is the way.
Oh,
If there's a person in authority, and if they were like humiliated by foreign by a foreigner, then you will just get what they think you deserve.
oh, bloody hell! Really? Oh God, that's brutal. So what?
Yeah,
What? That
yeah.
they? Oh God. Oh God. So don't visit China if you're racist against Asians.
Uh, yeah, that's really true. Well, you should respect the culture. That's what I
No.
also had to hear. You don't have respect. You don't have enough respect. Uh, uh, I had to hear that phrase, especially from drunk people when I had conflicts with them or some misunderstandings.
Hmm. But they take things to heart a lot more than people in the West with certain things.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
saying.
they are not so tolerant as people in the West. They think that their culture is the main culture, and if you are a foreigner, we will welcome you, but you are a guest in our place, so you should respect our rules. If you misbehave, then we will punish you. And uh, among like the expats, there's a belief that if there's some fight in a bar and there is a foreigner involved in this fight, the police they do not try to make clear who is guilty. They take the foreigner because foreigner is the first person to blame.
Oh, easiest as well.
Yeah, yeah, the easiest, just to deport.
Oh, bloody yeah, yeah, yeah. God, yeah. It's if does the fact that I look Asian help if I go there?
uh,
I am half Chinese. It might
oh,
help.
have you been there in
I've been.
mainland
I've
China?
got so my relatives are in Hainan. Um, they've
Oh,
not.
Hainan, I've
So
been there. Great place.
yeah, fantastic place. All I remember is being chased by a wild pig, and my granddad. Well, it was his last moments over there, and me and my mum and my uncle went to visit our relatives there, who we've lost contact with. But they
Oh,
moved to Thailand because of the war between in China with Japan or something.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
but that's the story there. Yeah, we don't know. We don't have any contact with our relatives in China.
And
But
have you ever
most
visited
of
Hainan or China?
Hainan, yes, because I was chased by a wild pig, and apparently in Hong Kong, where me and my mum got splashed by a big lorry, which I don't remember, but that's about
Uh-huh.
it.
And
But
what do you feel about Hainan? And did you feel any difference between people in Hainan and people in Hong Kong, like locals? people.
I was only 4 years old when I went to Hainan. I'm a bit
Ah,
of an old man now, but I don't remember going to Hong Kong at all. But from what I gathered from, I don't know, in terms of the people from China that I've come across, it's very mixed, isn't it? Some people are really friendly and cool, but some are quite really inhibited, and they really they're in themselves quite a lot, and
hmm
they yeah, some of them are quite boring, and they but some of them are the opposite. I notice it's one or the other. They're either really inhibited and quite boring, or they're the opposite. That's what I found when interacting with a lot of people from China. Mate, that's my experience, though.
hmm yeah, I get it. Well, what experience I had in on Hainan is that it's a great place, but it's really crowded with people because I went there during the holidays and everybody went there. So I remember the seaside. It's quite pretty, and I also remember the park next to the sea. Um and I also remember a story about the fish restaurant. It also I use it in my material. It's was we went there on the wedding anniversary with my wife, and we were passing by a restaurant, and there was a quite an expensive restaurant, fish restaurant, and there was fish swimming in the aquarium, and you could choose the fish, and uh, they will cook that exact fish for you. So I came up, and there was a manager who went out, and he like asked me, "Which one do you like?" I asked the price, and he said the price like 200 yuans. And I was like, "Oh, 200 yuans, great! Give me this one." And I chose the biggest one, and he takes it and just smashes it against the floor right in front of me. Like, okay, you've got it. And he's holding it in front of me, uh, and he's like, "This one is gonna weigh about like 10 kilograms," and I'm like, "And 200 yuans is," and he's like, "It's per 1 kilogram," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to fish anymore," and I just turned away and started going. And he just grabbed me and said that if I don't get that fish, he would call the police. So I had to eat that fish, but it was very tasty. It was so tasty.
That's the main thing.
Uh, yeah, and I also went to the Chinese New Year to my friend's village, in a real Chinese village, and I really liked it. Well, it looks much more different from the city because it's like you go 200 years in time when you go to the village because there's no central heating. Uh, everything looks more much poorer than in cities. But the food was really great there. The food made by my friend and all the traditions, all the fireworks, all this stuff. I really liked it. By
Okay.
the way, I really like Chinese food.
Oh yeah, Chinese food is delicious. I know in the West a lot of it is Hong Kong, I think, Chinese food or
Mm.
Cantonese food rather than. I know that each region of China has its own food, but yeah, Chinese food is delicious, and I don't know how I haven't become super fat from it. I mean, I'm developing a bit of a belly now, but it is amazing.
I'm going to have lunch with my friend from China tomorrow. Uh,
Do,
he's
do they have a Chinatown in Kiev?
no, there are no any such thing as some cultural districts in Ukrainian cities. I think they're too small for that. Uh, there are Chinese restaurants uh, run by Chinese managers, but they are not in any Chinatowns. It's just a place in the center of the city. So you just go there. The rest of the city is Ukrainian populated, but there is just a place run by Chinese people, but served by Ukrainians. Like the boss is
Oh,
Chinese,
okay.
and they are really. I'm afraid that I have already forgotten the original Chinese restaurants' tastes, but that food seems very similar
Decent.
to me. Yeah, decent. So in this thing, I trust my friend, who I'm gonna see tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. When someone's bringing you to food from their culture, they're not going to take you to something that's bad. It's like with their comedy. A lot of the times, like, people will only recommend you to gigs if you're good. Because if they don't, then if they recommend you to a gig and you're completely shit, it makes them look bad. But
Yeah,
if they're bringing you to a food that's good, that they say is good, if they and you find it shit, it makes them look bad. One thing you can trust, if someone's from that culture and they're taking you to a restaurant from that culture, it's going to be good because they don't want to look like shit.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Or I don't know. In comedy, if you show somebody a comedian you think is good, and the person doesn't like the comedian, then you're just like, you don't know what the comedy is. So there's also an
That's true. That's true.
there's also an exit. If you don't like this, I don't know what exactly on earth you can like. You can be toxic. There's also always toxic exit from every situation.
Yeah, yes, yes. Or they say it wasn't your audience, or they say, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. W- We comedians, we got fragile egos. A lot of us, I think, every human being has some form of narcissism. That is true. But I think comedians, there's a lot of us that have huge egos and definitely narcissism. I know that I've got a certain aspect of narcissism, but I am aware of it. That's the only thing I'll say that's good about it.
yeah.
But
That's
there's
what's
definitely a degree.
different between comedians and normal people. Well, I'm narcissist. I just say ordinary people, the muggles.
Yes, they're below
Yeah,
us.
it's like my friend says there are comedians and there are muggles. That's what he usually. Yeah, what's different between comedians and non-comedians is that comedians realize that there are narcissists, not Nazists, narcissists. I'm sorry
Narcissist,
for
yeah.
my yeah
Yeah.
yeah I'm sorry for my pronunciation because it may sound very wrong. Not narcissists, narcissists. So yeah, that's what I. But
They
ordinary
probably have the
people,
same mental.
yeah, but ordinary people they do not realize that, but they're still narcissists. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
They're just afraid of going out and try to be amused to amuse the audience, but if they knew that they can do it, actually, I think they would try. Everybody would try.
I also think that comedians are more aware of themselves being narcissists than actors.
Yeah, maybe I think so too. Do you have a lot of
I think
actor friends?
uh, I mentioned this on this podcast quite a lot, so I don't know. The people
Oh,
are
okay.
listening and they're like, "What are you on?" You mentioned this 10 times already. I've mixed a little bit with film actors, and they've been quite. To be honest, I've not noticed any difference. The only thing that I have noticed difference with are theatre actors and theatre clowns. That
Hmm.
they're a bit less aware of it than comedians. Whilst comedians, I know that there's an element they're aware of that of themselves.
And do you know any actors who try to do stand-up comedy?
All those that fail with acting. No, sorry, I should not have said that. Uh, no, I know a couple in the UK comedy circuit that are actors and that are also being comedians. Um, but I know a few. Yeah. What are you getting at? You meant that do both?
I'm getting at that. It seems to me that there are a lot of actors. Well, I know a couple of actors who tried themselves in stand-up comedy, and what I think, uh, um, just because once I was invited to a theater uh, to to the theater show. I don't know how to say it correctly. I'm sorry.
A theatre show, yeah,
To
a performance, yeah.
to the performance, to the theater performance, uh, which is performed in the form of stand-up, and one of their uh, one of the things they did there was inviting a real stand-up comedian. Like there is a performance based on the work by Ukrainian poetess, and then there's just an ordinary stand-up comedian coming out and saying some jokes. So this was the part of the show. And when I was watching the actors doing stand-up, I noticed that they are still performing the role of a stand-up comedian who is telling a stand-up instead of just saying a stand-up by themselves. And then I saw a couple of actors in comedy clubs doing stand-up, and they were still like it felt like they had been rehearsing this stand-up for they had a, actor's approach to something which should be more alive and less prepared, so that's what
Yes,
I
yes,
think. Like
yes.
a lot that's why I think they failed at it. But I also know that there are a lot of examples of popular actors who were great comedians, like Robin Williams. I know that he's like professional actor. How did they
But I
manage to
think,
combine
yeah,
this?
yeah, cocaine. No, So I don't-
And
no,
suicide in the future,
oh,
and
for
hugging
God's sake,
a,
yes,
and hugging a gorilla. The guy had just gorilla in his head. One day will come and you will hug a gorilla and hang
yes.
yourself and yourself.
That's
Work
the
for
solution. Whoa, where did this go through to? No, I think no, yeah. There's exceptions to the rule, but what you said, I think, is quite true. And also, they one thing I've not quite got. I don't know if I believe it or not, but they say that a lot of if someone's a good comedian and they know how to be funny, they're going to be a good actor. I mean, like the Malcolm in the Middle guy that played Walter White is a brilliant actor, but he played a comedic role. They say that actors that are good at playing comedic roles or comedians make really good actors. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't
Jim
know the full.
Carrey is also, as far as I know, he didn't have like drama education, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. No.
Uh, yeah, well, and do you use a lot of act outs during your shows? Do you like doing act outs?
I'm very dry and deadpan. I mean, I play a character, Asian Zora, but I don't really use act outs. I just try and most of the time I'm the idiot in the joke, and I just say surreal things,
Mm.
and that's me. I'm not really a clever joke writer. I'm not a good act out man. I'm always the joke in whatever do or say. Yeah.
Hmm.
What about you?
Well, I think that this is the thing that saves me because I'm not very good at writing material. It's shitty, so I'm try to decorate it with some act outs. Uh, we and my visiting drama studio at the university when I was a student. it was amateur, had nothing to do with any professional stuff, but it helped me to feel more confident to do the act outs. So this is the way I try to cover lack of some well-built jokes. So I think it's cheating, but still it works, and I just decided that if it works, then why not use it?
Exactly. That's the main thing. Now, to anyone that's sort of listening in right now, how do they find out about you? And what is like what is your mantra on comedy and getting better at it?
In what aspect you mean mentor?
So mantra, like, what is a piece of advice you'd like to give to any comedian that's listening?
Okay, I get it. How did I manage to get audience? The audience I have. Well, I'm not considered a popular comedian. I'm like the underground comedian, because we have very popular comedians. Thanks God, they are not Russians. They're Ukrainians, and these comedians, they do not donate a lot of money to the armed forces, and they do a lot of volunteers job, and they believe that this is the main mission of comedians now, especially if they are very popular. There are Vasil Waidak, Anton Timoshenko, and many other. But I'm like niche comedian who is not popular, but who is still known by some group of people. And I don't know how to become popular. Actually, this is the thing I am still looking for. I'm still looking for the way to become popular. And actually, I'm trying to realize if I need this, or if being the niche guy is better. The main thing for me is just to do what you find funny yourself, and if you just try to do something because you think it's gonna work, after analyzing the comedy of some other popular comedians, I'm like 99% sure it's not gonna work for you, just if you analyze into it. Maybe there will be some punchlines which will work, but it's fake. If you don't get satisfaction from this, you will not last long. But comedy is a marathon, and the one who endures most wins. That's what I think.
Huh.
So just try to find what's funny for you, what you like, and don't think about what you have at this moment, because if you just fail twice and quit comedy after this, then you will never meet that and get to that bank.
Yeah. It's what you said. There's like jujitsu. The people that get ahead aren't necessarily the best ones, or the ones that have is people that have gone through the most crap and still standing.
Oh, actually, what was in my head is people trying to flee Ukraine, crossing the river on the border with Hungary. So yeah, it's also some kind of jiu-jitsu.
Fair enough. Oh, God. Now, how do people find out about you?
You should believe in yourself, otherwise you will never reach that bank of the river. So that was what was in my head. And the
Okay.
borderline people will shoot you.
Fair enough. Oh, God.
Well, we are finishing the podcast now, right?
Yes. So
In the end,
do people
I can
find out
show
about
you.
you?
I recently have fulfillment. I don't know, in my family. I got a little puppy from the front line, so I can introduce her to you.
Okay.
if you want.
But how that would be great. One thing I want to say though, to the people that are listening in, how do they find out about you online?
Uh, Online, you can sign to my Instagram, and I don't know where should I write it. Actually,
I'll put it in the
you,
podcast
you can
description.
put you can follow me on the Instagram or on YouTube, uh, and these are my two main social networks, Instagram and YouTube.
Sure. Well, guys, you
Thank you
know
very
where to
much.
go. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. The next episode is going to be with a comedian from Kenya, and I'll
Whoa,
see you guys
cool.
soon.